Good to go.
Thank you, Bonnie. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 11th meeting of the Traffic Safety Committee. I'm just going to read our remote meeting notes into the records here. This open meeting of the Traffic Safety Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on March 29th, 2023. All members of the Traffic Safety Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The Act allows the Traffic Safety Committee to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed in the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Kate Gerard.
Here.
Brian Cole.
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Scott Charpentier.
Present.
Josh Van Houten.
Present.
Sergeant Tom McDonald.
Here.
Okay. And with that, we will get started. This first item on the agenda is something that I've been keeping my eye on for a while now. And I know, so I wasn't surprised when somebody made a request for us to review this. So Scott, I don't know if you want to talk to this real quick, or I'm happy to do so.
Yeah, it's interesting. It came to the Traffic Safety Committee. It would be under the jurisdiction of the school department, and more specifically, likely tied into their busing contract, which I think has been in the newspaper recently, like a lot of communities' busing contracts. So I'm happy to share it with the school, and obviously Tom and his 211 compadres down on Main Street for their input. But I really don't see where it's a actionable item for the Traffic Safety Committee outside of making a recommendation of support.
Yeah, and I was under the same impression. This is something that's going to have to go to the school committee. It's going to be part of their budget. I'm sure, Tom, you and the chief probably have already looked at it. So basically, in the latest set of laws that have come down from the state, they are allowing towns and cities to be able to send out. From what I read, it wasn't a citation per se, but it does go on the owner's record of a vehicle if they are caught on video passing by a school bus with its red lights out. And it gets very specific in some of the law and some of what can and can't happen. But but Scott, you're right. I think this does need to go in front of the school committee. I don't know, board members, let me open this up to you. Are you interested in sending a letter of recommendation for this?
I mean, I'm in support of it, but I don't see that it's our jurisdiction, for lack of a better word.
Right.
I don't mind so much the jurisdiction question. Like, that's the point of making this board, right? Or committee, is that it's supposed to be a one-stop shop for traffic-y things. That's what we're here for.
Mhm.
So,
But not this.
if the concerned citizen sent the email to the wrong place, certainly I have no problem with us forwarding it to the right place.
Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to forward it along to the superintendent's office and the police department for their consideration, which we do often with these, but I wanted to get the Traffic Safety Committee's thoughts first on whether they want to vote to, recommend consideration. I don't know anything about the law. I've never read it. I can't make a professional advisory statement on whether it's good, bad, or I have no idea. But
There is a lot.
again, this is the commission, the committee's decision.
Yeah. And I think from what I've read, I think the RFP is already written for next year's school bus contract. In fact, I think they've already gone out to one round of bids. So it would be too late at this point for them to adjust the RFP to be able to do that. But I think for next year, it might be something they may want to add.
Is this something that the bus company has, or is it a third party?
So the bus company would have to purchase the videos, put them on the buses, have the recording set up, and be able to. And I only know this because where I work at the MBTA, we deal with the videos that come off of the buses and off of the trains, right?
Right.
There's a whole process that has to happen when you take these things on and off the
Sure.
devices, because there is a legal chain of custody that has to happen. So, there's a whole, there's a big expense to this, right? And I don't think the bus companies are ready for that quite yet. Hopefully they get there. I do know from my two kids, every time they come home, they're always, at least once a week, they're saying, "Oh, this car went by the school bus, or that car went by the school bus after the red lights were out." So,
Mhm.
they say it's usually up by Whitney Street, but who knows? It's amazing sometimes if everyone gets a chance to look at the video that they took from PWD Mass. I think they did like a 1 month survey of
Yeah.
these, and there were so many cars that went by the buses. It wasn't even funny. So
I mean, maybe it's a little. Could we say we had the system and see if that slowed people down? I'm not 1,000% kidding. More seriously, do we know any community that has enacted this chapter
no,
399 here?
it's
We can see
brand
how they
new.
do.
They literally just signed it on January 10th.
Oh,
So I don't think they have any buses with the video camera or equipment on them, right? So again, all that's going to have to be added. I'm sure the police in the individual towns are going to have to figure out how they're going to enforce it, and so on. So
well,
this is probably at least a year or two out before it really gets going.
all right. Well, no reason to not think about it.
Yeah.
Should we talk? Was the Peabody thing you mentioned? Was there any enforcement power or
No,
just public shame?
no, just public shame.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not nothing. Um, but it does mean that we can't ask them questions about the actual enforcement.
Yeah. So Scott, why don't we do this? Why don't we put this? What I'd like to do is, if it's okay with board members, is put this on our agenda for probably 6 to 9 months out. Right at that point, I think the school department will be starting their RFP for the next year's bus contract. And at that point, we can make a recommendation that they add this in there.
Would you like me to forward the email to the superintendent's office
Yes.
outlining kind of what the discussion and is what we've decided to do?
Yep.
Okay, we'll
I
do.
think that would be fine. Thank you.
Can you correct the chapter number on there as well? Just save the school department a step.
Why it's not 339 sick?
No, it's 399.
Oh, okay, yes.
Or I believe it's 399, unless they're really concerned about the Milford Police Department, which they could be, but it seems more logical.
Okay.
And I'll be interested in the fact that Boston is actually putting this up to a vote now, to enact this. So I'll be interested. We'll keep an eye on that to see if that happens and what the outcome of that is, how they implement it.
Yeah, let's make sure we follow. Yeah, let me know what happens. Let us know what happens there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Is there any, before we move on to the next item, is there any public comment on that item? If not, we'll go ahead and
Public
move on.
attending.
Nope, you got a public comment there, Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
I get. Yes, sir. Go ahead and state your name and address and let us know what you think.
Adam Goodlit, 110 Pleasant Street. Thank you for routing that to the correct place.
Yep.
That's it.
Okay. That was your letter, I'm assuming?
It was.
Okay. Yep. Nope. We're happy to do it. And like I said, this is something we've been looking at for a while. So appreciate the letter.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess we'll move on to the next item. Scott, I'll let you take this one as well. I don't think I saw this email come in.
Josh has gone over it a little bit. Josh, do you mind covering this one for me?
Yeah, I don't mind. We had an email. It stated traveling westbound on Route 20. There's a no left turn arrow sign at the rear entrance to Algonquin, which was posted when this access was constructed to prevent westbound traffic from making a nearly 180 degrees turn against opposing eastbound traffic to use the back driveway. I've witnessed a few near collisions, especially when newly licensed high school drivers attempt to make this maneuver. I would suggest another sign be posted under the no left turn arrow sign that reads Algonquin, no left turn, use Bartlett Street, or something similar to discourage this dangerous maneuver. So, you know, we don't have control over Route 20. Everything on Route 20 is controlled by the state, including the signage out there. I thought it was important that we bring it up, just in the sense that it seems to be an issue that they say that they've witnessed several people try and do this. I'm not sure what the status of the sign was, if it was there, or how long it's been gone or anything like that. Something that we could possibly write to the state. We could forward this over to them. I don't think that we have much jurisdiction over putting any additional signs up on Route 20, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, I would say probably I drop my kids off at Algonquin, and I will say I always see somebody either trying to make that left-hand turn coming off of Route 20, or people making the left-hand turn onto Route 20 from there as well. So, Sergeant McDonald, I don't know if it's something we can, possibly get a patrol car out to just, one school day to let people know that you're keeping an eye on it.
It's on the list we have. The main complaint is usually the kids leaving the high school, taking a left, going to go 20 west. I don't think, not that I recall ever getting a complaint the opposite. People trying to get in that lot. It's usually the kids leaving school that don't want to go up into Marlboro or up to the Kingdom Hall to turn around. They just make the illegal left. But I can certainly have more people sit, the day shift guys sit there in the afternoon and in the mornings.
Yeah, and I will say, unfortunately, we can't blame the kids here because I see many, many, many of the parents doing it as well. So,
oh yeah, and I've done a traffic detail there on graduation day, and I had a lot of people angry at me when I wouldn't let them take the left.
So, thank you. Okay.
Is this something we could forward to the school and maybe they could put out a memo or, some sort of temporary sign on the access road?
Yeah, or even put it in their newsletter, right? Reminder, no left turn onto Route 20 coming out of that part of the parking lot.
There's a big no left turn sign there. I mean, you can't miss it. So I don't think another sign we're doing. If the Route 21 might be different, I can't picture right now whether there was one or the only other thing you could do to deter it is to make the island bigger or further, some sort of curb or something to make it more of a lane, but I don't know who would be in charge of that either.
Spikes.
Maybe we.
I don't know if that would change anything either.
Yeah,
No,
I think what we do is we put up a sign stating video surveillance being utilized, right?
Park a school bus there with the video camera pointing right at it.
I wonder actually if we made if another sign is in the works, I wonder if putting the amount of the fine on the sign would help. telling a high school kid, don't do this thing. Yeah, whatever. Telling a high school kid, if you do this thing, it's going to cost you $100. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, we've oversigned a lot of locations and, well, several
Sure.
locations in town in hopes that it will prevent irresponsible driver decisions and the sign clutter and the white noise that it turns into, unfortunately.
No,
Really,
absolutely.
it's talk to the person at the corner of Davis and Otis, the one who's replaced his fence like 6 times and his arborvitae's a half, 10 times.
Yeah.
We've got 15 signs approaching that, and he's got rocks there, and people still
Yeah.
have challenges going around that corner.
Mhm.
There's a no
Go
left
ahead.
turn sign going into Algonquin, and there's a do not enter sign for the part that you come out of Algonquin to take that right. And when you're leaving Algonquin, there's a no left turn sign.
Yeah.
With a big red
Oh,
circle slash through it. So I don't think that additional signage is gonna make a difference. I think maybe having the school put out a memo as a reminder to people might be beneficial, but the signs are pretty clear, so I think, I mean, I think honestly, if there was a turn light at Bartlett Street, that might promote more people going to Bartlett Street. But when you go down to Bartlett Street and then you sit there waiting to take a left,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Lisa. You've had your
Yeah,
hand up patiently.
Thanks. I agree with Tom. I think creating an island that creates it, making it difficult to turn in there would be helpful. At least they'd have to jump the curb to be able to get in that driveway.
It's a pretty big
So-
island there already.
I don't know how
And
you
it's
could
already
do
over
that
180
with them.
degrees.
Yeah.
Was that right? So they don't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is an effortful turn for sure.
Basically making a U-turn to get into the parking
Yeah.
lot there.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of work in that area to try to prevent the left turn from students between the acute angle island,
Mhm.
the one-way direction, and Tom, you know this, on that Berkeley area there that you can't turn, toward the trailhead and kind of circumvent the intersection. There's been a lot of thought and probably repeat thought over the years to try to prevent bad decisions by teenagers.
And their parents. No, as you
We're all
said, like,
parents here,
Yeah.
so it's not our fault.
Yeah. Maybe, Tom, maybe it would just take a cruiser, just park it there. You can have the officer leave, right? Just leave the cruiser there. I've seen them do that.
Well, they'll be obstructing, right? And they won't be able to see around it. Get another complaint, but no, I'll have some of my guys and girls sit there,
oh,
You know.
have them sit on the island.
and then just even just parked up like on one way or the other, one side or the other. They see it. They usually you'll see them start to turn, and then they go the other way when they realize someone's sitting there. So it's a deterrent in itself.
Yeah.
For the record, there is a left turn lane at least on Bartlett, but I don't on Route 20 West taking a left onto Bartlett Street, but I don't think there is a left arrow.
Yeah, no,
No,
you have to wait. There's no dedicated turn lane
Yeah.
or light rather.
Oh.
Okay. So I think we've talked that one to death. Scott, townwide 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. Or Josh, actually, because I think
Yeah.
you were getting the data for that, Josh, right?
Yeah, we've got the survey. We haven't really dug into it too deep, but I can give you a little bit of information that we did find. Just a quick summary. There was 706 total responses. 664 were residents of Northborough, so that's a very high number. Regarding the current speed limits in town, over 80% said that on this issue they were either neutral or they felt they were safe or very safe. So it appears that the majority of drivers in this town feel that the speed limits are just about right. Actually, there was another question, and 60% of the respondents said that the speed limits were just right. Some of the suggested improvements would be to improve pedestrian crossings, signage, lane markings, install speed bumps, and more enforcement. But the big question here was, do you support the implementation or reduction of the statutory speed limit of thickly settled or business districts from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour? 47% of the respondents said no. 11% said not sure. So that's the majority either said no or not sure. Only 41% said yes. So it looks like we're doing a pretty good job, and we might not need to adjust the speed limits in town.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. What about everyone else?
I agree.
So when it comes to the topic of crosswalk safety, I do want to let you know this was mentioned to the select board last night, and thank you, Josh, for pointing it out to me. The counter tubes you see along Route 20 and West Main Street and West Main Street at the crosswalks, those are Mass DOT doing traffic counts in response to our community and other communities' requests to get RRFBs, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, at the crosswalks on the state numbered route. Also, we had requested RRFBs from DOT, free material providing, them providing free material for our contractor to install at 8 locations. We had talked about those locations previously. They asked me for some additional data a couple of weeks ago. I provided that to them. Haven't heard anything about it, but the fact that they asked for additional information is slightly encouraging. And the RFBs that were funded through ARPA this past calendar year, those have been delivered to the highway garage, and now it's a matter of the weather cooperating with us so we can do the concrete flat work and the installation. So, you know, we have a handful of possibilities and at least one absolute coming our way.
Nice. Great work. Thank you.
Did the state
Okay.
happen to say how long they're gonna take on the traffic studies that they're doing on 20?
They did not. It's a district-wide initiative, but the fact that they put counter tubes out in January and February indicates there must be some motivation from, I don't know, maybe Beacon Hill for them to do this. But I haven't seen the state put out counter tubes in the middle of the winter and then roll them up for a storm and then roll them back out like they did. So
Yeah.
there's some motivation on their part.
I
And
suspect that
I know Maple Street has it, but do the other 4 locations have it too?
Yes, I
Good.
saw them at Town Hall, Maple Street, over at St. Rosalima. So yeah, they've been along Main Street. I'm not sure what other communities. I live in Grafton. There's not a lot of state numbered routes that are state owned there, but I'm sure they're spreading them district wide.
I spoke with the crews that put the traffic counters out. They said they were only going to be out there for less than a week. They were supposed to pick them up last Wednesday. So they knew it was going to snow on Friday or Saturday. So the plan was to try and take them up before the storm. I'm surprised that they're still out there.
I'm surprised that they're doing pedestrian counts in February, but
Yeah, it says vehicle counts.
oh, okay. That
And
makes
they
more
did
sense.
roll them up for the 36 hours of the storm, and they'll probably pull them up again tomorrow for another storm. When the state spends that much time and money installing and uninstalling and reinstalling, there's got to be some motivational entity behind that pushing them along.
Right.
Mhm.
Good. Okay. How about an update on the HCVE for Summer Street? I'll leave
Josh?
that up to you, Scott. Or is that Josh?
Yes.
Well, we don't have an update on that one yet. We did get an update. We do have an update for the proposed one on Pleasant Street and Lincoln Street. So
Okay.
our consultant Weston and Sampson prepared a report that seems to state that they are warranted, that the HCVE is warranted on Pleasant and Lincoln. We're going to submit that to the state and we'll see what happens. And then once we get that rolling, we'll move forward and do the Summer Street and Rice Street. Or
So,
Rice Avenue.
The Rice Ave was somewhat tabled, and I didn't update Josh on this today yet, but I got an email from the state that Summer Street was approved. We did talk to them a little bit about the turning conditions at South and Main, and their response was what I had expected. If trucks do it now, they can do it later. Okay. They don't, but that's fine. So the next step with that is to order the signs, get them installed. You know, we generally put up the message boards. It's a bad time of year to put up message boards, just because of snow removal, but we'll generally do that in advance of the sign installation. So I would expect
Okay.
that in the next 3-4 months for the truck exclusion signs to go up for Summer Street.
Good.
And are they gonna put in the little trucks with the red circle, or are they just gonna do the words?
Just the words, just the words. That's the standard symbology. If it continues to be a problem, we can put a truck with the exclusion circle below it after the fact. Mass DOT wants a picture of it when we put them up. I'd rather have the picture be with pure MUTCD signage. Here it is, clean, exactly what they expect to see. And then if we have an issue, we'll put it up later.
And are they gonna do an advance warning sign on that too? Like truck exclusion ahead or any of that?
I am not aware of any need for that. There may be on, I don't know, Route 20 possibly over by the Harvey's entrance, but it's it's an odd one. I know there's an advance warning on Maple Street,
Yeah,
but the advance warning is like right at the intersection. So, you know, Maple Street and Brigham Street are a bit of a confusing intersection. I would think Summer's a little more straightforward where we can put the sign right at that corner. It won't impede any sight distance issues coming out of Summer, going eastbound, looking westbound on Main. So at this point, no, but in the event there's an issue, we can solicit the state to allow an advance warning.
okay, because isn't there one for Davis too?
There
Then
is
they're
at the
coming-
dedicated left turn lane. There is not a dedicated left turn lane here. It
Yeah.
is through traffic. Typically on a dedicated left turn lane, you'll have something so the truck doesn't get into the lane and then have to divert over to the through lane. Maple Street is unique. It's a complicated intersection that should have been combined and signalized 15, 20 years ago, but state does what they do. So at least maybe we'll get some RFPs of the crosswalk and that'll be improvement.
I hope
Yep.
so. A lot of requests for that for many years.
Yep. And what about any update on Rice Ave? We're
No,
gonna hold that one for next year, right?
We talked to the select board. They wanted to put it on hold. As everybody on this committee knows, it's a very complicated section of town. There may be, you know, we've asked to get some analysis done on the counts themselves. You know, is it box trucks, landscape trucks that are driving through there, landscape trucks and trailers, or is it actually, you know, 28-foot small articulated tractor trailers? Or so if it's box trucks and landscape trucks, it's probably not going to make any difference whatsoever, other than inconvenience drivers who sit there at a three-way intersection and can't turn anywhere. But we still need to dig into that data.
Okay. And then what about you have one here for Brigham Street as well?
Yeah, we haven't. We actually talked about that here about waiting until Summer Street is engaged, active, picked up by the GPS devices, and to see if trucks coming from Westboro on South Street, if their GPS, once it captures the truck exclusion, sends them on Brigham Street. I'd rather do the counts in 18 months and see what the impact is than do them in May before the GPS picks it up and it shows nothing.
Okay, makes sense. think that's all we have on the agenda. Is there any, I'll open it up now for any public comments. Any comments on things we didn't go over?
I have something.
Okay,
I don't know if now is the correct time for it, or
sure.
all right, let's just do it. Scott mentioned Otis and Davis. I know the Smith Pond Bridge over Otis Street, the last snowstorm, there were like 3 accidents of people sliding down the ice in the space of what, like an hour or something. I saw that that a tree came down over there. I was just wondering if there's anything else we can discuss doing over there.
The issue there, we went out there and took a look at it the day after the 3 accident incident. There was perched groundwater coming off the Bavarian field. So there's kind of like 3 entrances and exits to Bavarian. There's the lower one that's right by Smith Pond, and then there's kind of a V one at the top where people kind of come in and go. The V one, the lower portion of that, there was perched groundwater coming out of the field, and it was sheet flowing across the roadway, which caused a black ice condition. There was a little more, well, a smaller groundwater perch coming out of the upper entrance to Bavarian. So we went out there, we spoke with the owner the next morning. We were able to do a quick remedy with like 2 guys and a shovel. And then the next day we dig safed it and we dug a very small, shallow swale on the roadway edge to keep the groundwater off the roadway and then traverse the lower driveway, which actually pitches down from Otis Street towards Smith Pond. It's a temporary solution. There'll be a more permanent one done in the in the summer probably.
Okay.
But perched groundwater tables with the climate change, groundwater is going up, and we've seen as Northborough DPW a lot of systematic and systemic groundwater discharges this time of year and into March. Castle Road over the crest heading into Shrewsbury was catastrophic. It was a 12-foot wide iceberg going down the hill. We addressed that in conjunction with Shrewsbury with some under drains, but it's a problem, and we're seeing it more and more, and I don't see it letting up in the years to come.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. And we put salt down, Brian.
But did you put too much salt out?
I believe you. I just,
Sorry.
I live right over by that pond, and we had our neighbor texting us because we were out and like, are you guys okay? And just making sure that we weren't one of those 3. So
It's a bad corner.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's bad for all sorts of reasons, but
Yeah.
adding the ice doesn't help.
Right.
Nope. Okay, next on the agenda is the January 14th minutes. Did everyone have a chance to look at them?
Yes, but I wasn't in attendance.
I move to approve the meeting minutes.
You can still second even if you weren't there, Kate.
Oh, second.
Okay.
Somebody has to.
Yeah. Roll call vote. Brian,
Aye.
Kate, just abstain,
Okay.
and I'm an aye. We'll have to check and see if that's enough. Otherwise, we'll have to bring that one up next time as well.
You need a majority of those present. So if there was only 4 there, 2 really doesn't cut it. So
Yeah.
we'll likely have to table it till the next meeting.
Okay, so we'll table that to the next meeting then. Next meeting is scheduled. I don't have my calendar up.
I guess the 11th,
Yeah, it's
Is it
March
the
11th.
March 11th, okay.
6 meetings that night, so it has to be March 11th.
Good luck. Okay, is there any other business that needs to come in front of this committee?
All set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there anyone who'd like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Second?
Second,
Okay, all those in favor, Kate,
I.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank
Aye.
you
Take
all.
care.
Good
See
night.
y'all later.